All right, here we go. Welcome. It's a good start. I'm not sure what that was. This is kind of an experiment, I guess. I'm not even an experiment, I'm just trying something. As I was reflecting on Blood Nebraska and the releases that I put out, there is a lot of space in between. And I'm not exactly even sure where I'm going to go in this video, so if you just feel like spending a little time with me, that's what this will be. Basically, I have loads. This is not even the tip of the iceberg, but I have like volumes of things that I write, and journals and poetry and just like years and years and years of this stuff. And I was going back and reading some of my journal entries from years ago, and I feel like it's really interesting to look back and see how certain thinking patterns stay the same, and also to view yourself through that lens of this person writing these things in that moment, and to just give some reflection on it. And so I thought, why don't I do some journal entries in video form? And when I put out a song, put out a music video, there's a level of production and presentation to it. When I play a show, there's all of those things. As vulnerable and as honest as I strive to be with my art, there's always some presentation to it, like how is this coming across, the artistic things. And I just thought something about the spirit of when I first started writing these Blood Nebraska songs. They were just journal entries for me. I had no ambition to make any of this do anything. In fact, I'd kind of given up on music in a lot of ways. And so these just started out as confessions, journal entries, processing things in my life. And then it evolved bit by bit, and now it's something that I'm putting more deliberate intention to. But there are still a lot of gaps in between my songs and my releases. Unfortunately, I'm trying. I wish I was moving at a quicker clip in a lot of ways, but it's a lot to say. I just thought it'd be kind of interesting to do some video journals, in a sense, of where I'm at in my life, because I know there will likely be a day where I will look back at this and see myself in a different light. I'll look back and think, as I do these prior journal entries, in a lot of ways of, boy, you really didn't know how good you had it. If I could tell you now what you didn't know, or just take a certain advantage of some of your youth. You weren't seeing things in a lens that I wish I could give that younger version of myself. And so these might just be an ongoing kind of conversation, sharing with any of you who are interested. And this might get like one view. I have no idea. Sharing some of my life. I'm living out here in the desert. It's coming up on 1 year when I left LA and got out here, and I think it's really a good moment to reflect on things for me, because there was so much frustration living in LA with being able to record music, being more integrated with nature, which has been awesome since being out here, and yet I feel very behind on getting the music that I want to get out this year. So I keep coming back to these journals. I keep setting goals. I have my list of songs that I plan to release, and it always takes me longer than I wish it would. I'm very aware of my limitations as a musician, as a singer, as someone who can produce meaning just recording and getting these sounds that I'm trying to get in each song. I have the vision, and I guess one thing I'll share is because I think a lot of us experience this, is this idea that there's just not enough time. I don't have time or energy or ability to focus on things. And I've been very concerned because, I'll see old journal entries and the same thing keeps happening over and over of I'm frustrated with myself that so much time has gone by and I haven't completed this, haven't completed that. And I look at the things that are in the way of these dreams. And it's always the same bullshit. It's always the same just distractions. And so it comes down to what I think a lot of people would say would be discipline. But I've been rethinking things, and I'm not trying to plug this, but I did write a book. This is called Ex Nihilo, 33 Meditations for Artists. And so this has been very deep for me to feel into not the discipline of it, but the devotion. Because maybe I'll just read one of these to you, if I can find it. Here we go. Devotion over discipline. Discipline is force. Devotion is gravity. One demands, the other pulls you into itself. You don't need to whip yourself into a practice. What you love, you'll return to. What feeds you, you'll protect. Instead of forcing routine, cultivate a relationship. Feed the fire instead of fighting the flame. So the assignment is ask yourself, what would devotion to my creativity look like this week? And do that. Because I'll return to, again, a lot of these journal entries of thinking, kind of angry at myself because I wanted to have a whole EP done or shoot another music video, whatever it might be. And then I look at what fills my days, and I think, okay, I just need to maybe set some better goals or be more disciplined with my time. But I think it's more internal than that. I feel that if there's a devotion to my music, then the time wouldn't feel like as much of a battle. So I've been devoting at least a full day a week just to music. And it's really amazing because my EP, the first EP I put out, Romance, I feel like I produced that in kind of a flurry. And so I can look at a moment in my life and think about how quickly I did work and how prolific I could be in a relatively short amount of time. And that was 5 years ago, I think. It was right around COVID when I put that first EP out. I think it was a little before it. And I knew I had the songs, but it was producing them and recording them, which I did all on my own. Actually, let me make sure. My buddy Lucas helped out on some extra guitar on Love, but I did it really quickly. I think within like 3 months, I put out, collected 5 songs and produced them. And some of them I look back and I don't even know how I did it. Like Fire, I was definitely stretching myself at that time. So I guess my point here is just sort of, there's a lot of space in between songs, in between releases, and I want to still be able to find ways to connect and to share the broader kind of life of what's going on with me, and it can just be whatever, just to create some documents of myself along the process. So I guess I might as well share a little bit of process. So I had this whole goal. I wanted to release a song every single month this week, or this year. Every single. I'm not sure how that works. But I got one song out, Resurrection, and a music video. I'm really proud of it, and I think it's part of me is also seeing, whether or not evaluating whether or not things are resonating and finding a deeper audience. And Blood Nebraska in my art is very small. Some of I love that I can, when I set up a show, it's a very intimate and connected experience. I put a lot of work into that, but obviously, I don't want to say obviously, part of me really doesn't care. I really do not care whatsoever whether or not I have an audience of 200 people who subscribe to the Blood Nebraska channel, or if I have 200,000. I'm kind of at peace. I think it'd be interesting, as someone who has toured back in the day to larger audiences and done all that, there's some fun to that, and it's more about the experience to me of if there was a larger audience that might open up some more experiences to me that I wouldn't have otherwise. And probably more than that actually is just the idea that I feel my limitations, specifically with production. So I am pursuing, I'm just kind of, I've been exploring relationships, especially people out here where I moved, because there's a lot of music studios, a lot of musicians, and finding right connections. So I'm exploring finding people to help me where I'm weak. Because I think I have these goals to do so much, but I have my own limitations, and it's not just time and energy, it's really more of the sonics and the production value of what I'm trying to do. So I think maybe having a larger audience could open up some opportunities to that, but honestly I don't totally care. I feel like I can get there. And more than anything, what I feel at this moment in my life, and that's why maybe it's a good reason to document some of the process that I'm in, is I'm a poet. And I don't just mean that as someone who writes poetry, but I have come into much more of an acceptance of that as my nature, and that as my part of my core identity, not as something that I've tried to adopt. In fact, I've perhaps even pushed it away in a lot of senses. But I've been writing poetry and songs since I was a kid, and so I mean this one here is full of poetry, and so I have allowed my heart in many ways and myself to get away from the true essence of what that means, and that is being someone who is very much in the moment of tasting and feeling and experiencing life as art, and not trying to rush too quickly, not trying to push too hard on timelines. Even though I really believe in, I really appreciate deadlines and setting clear goals to make movement, but I don't know if I'm still sort of cleansing myself of I feel like what I got sort of, I don't know, caught up in the LA life, city life, where everyone's pushing hard and pursuing their dreams to a degree that I feel is somewhat dangerous in some ways. I wouldn't say dangerous. I just say there's going to come with that a lot of broken hearts, because not everyone is going to get that golden ticket, so to speak. And that's not what I'm pursuing. I feel like I'm slowing down even more. That's, you hear my music, and my music is very slow. I sing slowly, I play slowly. Part of that is the spirit that I try to imbue in my music, but part of that is just because that's kind of the only way I know how to play. I know how to sing. So I'm getting really off track here. I feel like what I want to return to, and I'll likely keep coming back to this as my life, is actually there's two things that are very, I think, pertinent to document right now in my process. Is that daily, just being able to taste and smell how beautiful everything is. And I say that as someone who writes really dark music, who has a heavy heart, heavy spirit, so much of my life, who looks at my life and says, it's not quite where I would like it to be, but is there something absolutely magical and poetic about today? And if I allow myself to sink into that, then yes, there is. And that devotion to tasting and smelling and connecting to that poetry will likely give more birth, more time, more of myself to the things that matter most, and that is what feels precious to me right now is making my music. That's because I actually have a handful of songs that I'm quite excited about. And so the second part I wanted to document is that there's an evolution happening in my sound. And it might be a temporary thing, it might be just the season, but there's I'm kind of going back in a lot of ways to when I first got into music, when I was mid-90s, early mid-90s. And my first connection to music was more industrial and gothic music. And if I contrast a little bit, when I was first writing these diary entries on my guitar, they were much more country and folk based. So that's just an interesting thing for me to notice, that there's a big some shifting in the volume and the energy, and that has to do with, I'm always going through different things, all of us artists, and so we're perhaps translating what's happening in our life in the season, and there's been a big shift for me in many ways. So all that to say is, like, I have a slew of songs. Really, I could be releasing I could be releasing a song every single month. But the bottleneck is the production right now. But I feel like I'll keep making progress towards it, and yeah, things will happen when they need to. But with that, I do feel there's this. It's not really like I'm when I observe my life, I just see the percentage of what I am. It's like that Bible verse, show me your treasure and there your heart will be also, right? And I'm not sure if any of you have read the Bible. I grew up in going to Christian school and going to church, and very well immersed in American evangelicalism, so I know the Bible quite well. And you probably hear that coming through my music, but some of those nuggets still ring true. There's a lot of wisdom in some of these things, and so that idea of show me your treasure and there your heart will be also, this idea that you can tell me all you want, you can tell me what you love, but show me where you spend your money. Show me what you do with your precious little time that you have here on earth. Show me what you give yourself to. And that's what I will tell you. That's where your heart actually is. You can say that you love music. You can say that you love being an artist. You can say you love being a parent. Whatever it may be. You may even say you love being a husband or wife. But if you were the percentages of your life that are being given to other things that don't really support that as a reality, then you're making a confession with what you're saying with your deeds. And so that's where that's where I'm at right now, where it's like, well, let's take a look. Where is your heart? Because if your heart was totally into your music, then some of the time and energy doesn't really match up, Jesse. And yet, there's also that very real struggle that all of us really face of just how do we pay our bills? How do we, dealing with work, dealing with the demands that life has on us. But yeah, so those are the things. I'm excited to get these new songs out into the world. Yeah, there's a love. Some of these might surprise people. The amount of, well, I don't like really explaining my songs too much or my art, but yeah, there's just an extra edge to them. And that just might be the current season, but I want to capture that season while it still is resonant. Sometimes when I write a song, it's very in the moment, and then time passes, and it's still a really great song, but it doesn't feel, I don't feel as connected to it. And so, I have so many songs that I hundreds and hundreds. As I know a lot of you other musicians, if any of you musicians are watching this, you know how many ideas that you can you fill your notebooks with, you can fill your voice notes with, and it's not a matter of lack of songs. It's more of what feels like this is what I need to say right now. So this is a diary entry, so to speak. At least the flies joined me. I'm in our studio space. I might try these in different environments. I don't really know. This is just kind of an experiment and a way to connect a little bit to some of you who have been following me along the journey. And I appreciate you. Be happy to talk about other stuff. And I might even at some point, wow, the fly is really attacking me. I might at some point, grab my guitar and play some rough ideas or some demos. Yeah. So thanks for checking this out. If you did, if you made it all the way to the end, that's amazing. And stay tuned. Yeah, the next song is coming soon. I just got another mix of it back, so that's probably going to happen within the next 3 weeks or so. Yeah, and I think what this represents too is putting more intention into this, even this journal, this video journal entry with you, diary entry, whatever we call it, represents for me putting more intention into this. Because like I said, I did not move to California with any intention to do music. I moved to California to be a filmmaker. And then I did. I made 2 films I'm very proud of. I continue to be able to make short films. But I have, like I said, almost resisted this idea that I'm a writer and a poet. And maybe the real magic that I have to offer, not even real, it's just, it feels very, it just feels like the now of what I need to focus on is capturing these songs and getting them out. And so this represents pushing some intention into that and getting this going. I have a real big vision for some live shows that I want to do, hopefully locally here. And who knows if anything then grows from that, but that's my vision. I'll keep some of that close to the vest, but yeah. So if I set this intention out to the world, that gives me some impetus to just keep moving and keep devoted to something that very small right now, very small. But if anything, we do so many things in our life, and we just hope that something that we make connects to somebody and means something meaningful to other people. And however small the audience is, I do understand that there's a special connection that my music seems to give those people that really connect with it, and it really means something. And so I'm not doing this for the sake of others, but it's this reciprocal thing of like, oh, it's a hard thing, it's a difficult thing. When I feel like I'm making something really beautiful, and much of the world doesn't notice it, doesn't see it, doesn't give a shit. But then there are those who are not bullshitting you, like bullshitting me, and I can tell when they tell me that something really touches their heart and their spirit to their core, and that gives me a sense of placement, if that makes sense. That, oh, okay, I have some purpose here, and it's to cultivate this. One last thing I'll share is, like, I released my last song and single, Resurrection, and I'm really happy about it. I love how it sounds. I'm really proud of the lyrics. But there's also a moment of reflection of, is this really good enough? And I started listening to some other artists that I hadn't really been listening to much of, listening to their lyrics, listening to their production, and I started to think, I'm not there yet. And that was just more of a very honest reflection of, I need to, if I really want to make the most of these songs that I've written, I need to get better. I need to get better top to bottom, not from the sincerity, not from the quality of the songs, but just really the level of production and maybe the craftsmanship of putting the songs together. And at the same time, if this makes any sense, which it kind of doesn't, but at the same time, also not being so precious, because I have a tendency to think that I need to make things musically, not really lyrically. I'm really secure with my ability to write lyrics, but I overcomplicate things in some ways where I listen to some artists and I'm like, it's really simple. It's really simple. But it just has to be done with a certain level. So that's where I am at. It's, I don't know, May 20 something, 26 or something like that. And I am in Joshua Tree, California. And yeah, let me know if you enjoyed hanging out with me for a little bit. Maybe one of these days, yeah, I'll grab my guitar and play some demos or something. Or even, who knows, turn this into a live stream. Figuring all that stuff out. But for now, this is me on this day, and appreciate your time. If you stuck around this long, I feel like it's a miracle. But yeah, if anything comes up for you, if you want to just inquire about anything that I do as an artist, musically, or my life, you know, I'm willing to have some conversations while still keeping some of my life close to the vest, so to speak. But this is really cool. So thank you, and maybe I'll see you in another one.